Hello students, today we continue with the lesson Love Across the Salt Desert. This is the second half of the lesson. So now, where is Najib? Najib is on his way to Pakistan, to Fatima's village. He is going there to bring back bring Fatima to India, to his village. So now he is on the way, but here Zaman is angry that Najib has not taken his permission to cross the border. So Zaman has come and asked Aftab, Najib's father, where Najib is, and he is angrily going away from there now. As Zaman stopped off means went away, Aftab went in to break the news of their son's escape to his wife. She would faint, he thought. So now the father, Najib's father, Aftab, is going inside the house to tell the news of his son's going to Pakistan, to his wife, that is to Najib's mother. The father thought the mother would faint, that is, she would be shocked to hear that her son has gone across the border. But what was she doing? He found her crouching with her back against the mud wall, just like an animal that is afraid of being attacked. She was sitting near the back of the mud wall and sitting with fear. She did not even blink in surprise once. When she heard the news of her son, she was not at all surprised. What does that mean? It means that Najib had told his mother before he went. She just sat there cowering as if he had just slapped her and was about to do so again. She was not at all shocked by the news of her son's going because she already knew about it. Najib had not told his father, but he had told his mother about his going. She sat there cowering. Cowering means crouching in fear, hiding in fear. Allah, she knew it. Aftab, the father, he understood that his wife knew all about her son's going. She knew it all the time. She was waist deep in this conspiracy along with her son and never even breathed a word about it. So the father understood that Najib had planned his going along with his mother, and she hadn't breathed a word, not a single word she had told the father about his going. His eye fell on her bare arm, her arm which was empty. Arms of women, usually there will be some ornament, some bangle, chudi hoga. Lekin her arm was bare. He saw it. Where is that gold bangle my father gave you, woman? Maybe after her marriage, Aftab's father, that is, her father-in-law, must have presented her with a gold bangle. But now it was not there on her arm. And he is asking, the father is asking, where is that gold bangle that my father gave you? You need not worry, Najib will return with clothes. So the mother, what had she done with the gold bangle? She had given it to Najib. And she is reassuring Aftab, don't worry. Najib, I've given the gold bangle to him. He will use it to buy clothes from across the border. The long striding Allah Rakha kept a brisk pace. A strong south wind drove the tang of the Kori Creek back into Najib's nostrils. So now Najib is going across the desert. All around there's only sand, and he's going on his camel, Allah Rakha. And he got the tang. Tang means smell of the Kori Creek. Creek means small stream that was flowing. So he could get the smell of the water flowing in the creek. Kori must be the name of the creek. He got the smell. Tang means smell of the Kori Creek. He followed the stars. The Milky Way flaked with mica, the Great Bear shambling towards the north. So he is going at night and he is being guided by the stars in the Milky Way and the stars in the constellations. Mica, Great Bear, these are names of constellations. So he is following the stars and he is moving in the desert. He is being guided by the stars. Before dawn, he had arrived at Sarbela, over 20 miles from Kala Dungar. Earlier we had read about Kala Dungar, where he had paid homage to the footprints of Panchmai Pir. So after that he has covered 20 miles and he has arrived at a place called Sarbela. When did he reach Sarbela? Before dawn, just before light of the sun started to shine. So just before morning, slowly as the light started coming, he reached the place called Sarbela. He was already beyond the international boundary. Here he rested. So in Sarbela he rested. During daylight movement was impossible. So all through the night he was traveling. During the daytime he wouldn't travel. Why? He would be seen by the border guards. So movement was impossible. The Indus Rangers would be looking from their bamboo watchtowers. Indus Rangers are the Pakistani border guards. They would be keeping watch through their bamboo watchtowers. Watchtowers are high towers that are erected, and these were made of bamboo, and they would be sitting on top and looking through their binoculars. And in the heat, everything became mirage. Mirages are seen in hot places, like in deserts. That is, from far away when you see imaginary things that are not there actually. So far away in the deserts, in the heat, he saw mirages. A depression in the sand looked like a splash of water. Now, if there is a depression in the sand of the desert far away, it looked like there was water over there. Some water at least. A freak stunted cactus gave the appearance of a groove. A freak stunted cactus, stunted means small cactus, abnormal small cactus. दूर से it looked like a groove means a group of trees, like a group of trees. Actually it would be, if you go closer you would see it is only a small cactus. And a camel looked like a huge prehistoric animal on the move. In the distance, a camel looked like a huge prehistoric animal. Prehistoric animals were very big animals, like dinosaurs, which were very, very huge in size. So, दूर से a camel would look like a huge animal. So these were the mirages that Najib started seeing in the desert. Any movement was sure to be noticed through binoculars. These guards, border guards, they would be sitting on top of their watchtowers and they would be using binoculars to see in the far away in the distance. Anybody or any animal, anything is moving. Here dekhne ke liye they would be using binoculars. So during the day, Najib thought it would be impossible to move in the desert. When the sun came up, Najib took his first drink of water from his juggle. Earlier we read about the chakal that he had with him, in which he was taking water for him to drink as he traveled. Chagals are containers with made of animal skin. So when the sun came up, when it became hot, he took some water from his chagal, drank. At noon, he had his first meal, dry, stale bread with onion. That was his first meal. At noon, that is 12 noon. By now, thoughts about Fatima took a vice-like grip over him. Now, he is very tired, he is feeling very hot, but Fatima's image was always there before him. An entire night lay between them. He is imagining one night more travel karne se he will reach Fatima's village. An entire night lay between them, he thought, between him and Fatima. And the distance was less than 10 miles. Now only 10 miles were left to her village. A whiff of the tangy south wind caught his nostrils again. Again he got the smell of the wind that was blowing, the south wind that was blowing. But this time it brought with it a thin dappled veil of cloud, patches of which lay overlapping like fish scales. Along with the wind, when he looked up in the sky, he saw thin veil of clouds. Maybe white clouds are, but at least some clouds he could see in the sky. Why he is so interested about the clouds? Because for 3 years their place, Kutch, had been suffering from drought. There had been no rains. So always people were looking up into the sky to see if any clouds were coming. Yes, this was the time. It is only noon. So even before it became night, he is getting ready to go again. This was actually foolishness, because during the daytime if he travels, he would be seen by the border guards. He got up and shook the sand from his turban. So why is he getting ready to go even during the daytime now? Because Fatima's image is there before him, and that is drawing him, or that image is as if calling him to come. So now he is getting ready to go. Even as he harnessed his camel, he thought that Alarakha was looking at him quizzically. Quizzically means puzzled. In a puzzled way, the camel is looking at him, because the whole night the camel had been traveling, walking. And now by noon again Najib wants the camel to start moving. Quizzically, as if asking what the hell he was up to. At one level of consciousness, he knew that this was madness. He knew that to make the camel move so much is madness, because camels, if they become tired, then it is not easy for the camel to carry a burden also along with it. He knew of overworked camels dying of fatigue, of the patrolling parties of the BSF and the Indus Rangers and the mirage checkered trackless wastes of the desert. So during the daytime, now if he is traveling, what would happen? Ek to, his camel would be very, very tired. The whole night it had been walking, moving, and now again at noon, if the camel again starts to walk, it would be fatigued. Fatigue ka matlab hai tired. He would be very tired. And Najib had heard about how when camels are very tired, they might even die. Then during the daytime, if he travels, then the BSF and Indus Rangers, they might see him. BSF are the Indian border guards, and the Indus Rangers are the Pakistani border guards. They would all be there looking through their binoculars to see if anybody is trying to cross the border. And the mirage checkered trackless wastes of desert. What other danger is there? During the daytime it's very hot and he wouldn't be able to see things properly in the distance. He would see mirages in the distance. So these dangers were there if he traveled now. But still he wants to go. But he succumbed to a rush of blood. Still he is thinking of Fatima and he starts on his journey. And the face of Fatima beckoned him like a mirage. It looked as if Fatima's mirage, he could see far away in the distance, beckoning him. Beckoning means calling him. So, looking at Fatima's mirage in the distance, now he decides to move again, go on his journey again. Najab crossed the international boundary pillar number 1066. He knew the track he had to take, bisecting the two posts of the Indus Ranges at Jaktarai and Vingur. Earlier smuggling trips, when he had come with his father and with Zaman, he remembered exactly where he had to cross the border. He had to cross the border exactly between two posts of the Indus Ranges, Jaktarai and Vingur. So he had to bisect these two posts of the Indus Ranges. Bisecting means exactly in half. He had to go through the border. If he doesn't do that, he would be seen by the Pakistani border guards. But he strayed ever so slightly. But he didn't do it correctly. He strayed ever so slightly. He went to one side as he moved across the border. And from that side, the Indus Rangers, from their watchtowers, they saw him. And from their watchtower, they saw through their binoculars this sleek camel warped and distorted by the heat shimmer into a lumbering leviathan. So far away in the distance, as they looked through their binoculars, the border guards, they saw this camel. But in the distance when they saw it like a lumbering leviathan. Warped and distorted means deformed. A strange form wala animal because of the shine of the heat of the sand in the desert. The camel looked like a lumbering leviathan. Leviathan is a large sea animal. You can say like a whale. Huge sea animal ki tarah a camel dikh raha tha. An Indian slipping into their territory. Immediately the border guards understood an Indian is trying to cross the border with tendu leaf under their noses, and they knew most of these smugglers that were crossing the border, they were bringing tendu leaves, and that too without paying hush money. Hush money means bribe money. यह जो भी इंडियन था उससे कोई bribe money भी नहीं मिला था. They were not going to stand for it. They would not tolerate it. Najab was in a trance now. Trance means dreamy state. Now suddenly many things started to happen, and Najab, as he was seen by the Indus Rangers, they saw him, and what did they start doing? Events flashing past him like figures on a screen. The mile-long chase. What did the Indus Rangers do? They started firing at Najab. The mile-long chase, the firing from behind, the spent bullets flopping in the sand, and then rose a storm between the hunter and the hunted. Who was the hunter here? The Indus Rangers. The hunted was Najab and his camel, Allah Rakha. So what happened? The Indus Rangers started firing at Najab, and he started running. They chased Najab, the Indus Rangers chased Najab with their bullets. And bullets did not anyway fall on him. They did not hit him. The bullets flopped in the sand. They hit the sand, and then what happened? A dust storm, a sandstorm rose. And if there is sandstorm, nobody can see anything. The guards will not be able to see Najab, like Najab also will not be able to see which way to go. When the dust settled half an hour later, he was alone in the run. Alone, matlab, along with his camel. Nobody was anywhere near because the guards had been firing from far away from their watchtowers. The next few hours passed in a daze. Daze means confused state. Now, next few hours में नजब को पता नहीं चल रहा था क्या हो रहा है. In a confused state, he moved about. He was mortally scared that Allah Rakha may die of fatigue. He was very, very scared. Almost scared, mortally scared means scared to the point of death. That Allah Rakha may die of tiredness. Fatigue means tiredness. To ease him of his burden, he now started walking beside him. So instead of sitting on Allah Rakha, his camel's back, he thought he would be too much of a burden for his camel. He got down and started walking beside the camel. Within an hour, agonizing cracks appeared on his heels. Hot sand mein he is walking and cracks started to appear on his heels. His heels started cracking up because of the hot sand. Under a hot tin sky, the run was blazing now. The run of Kutch, that is the desert, was blazing. That is like fire. It was very, very hot. The sand was very hot, throwing up white needles which hurt the eyes. So his heels, what happened to them? Cracks started appearing because of the hot sand, and then his eyes hurt because of the heat of the sun. And as run palpitated, it haunted him with its mirages. The run of Kutch, the desert, palpitated means trembled. Why is it said that the desert was trembling? Because of the heat of the sun. It was trembling, palpitating. It haunted him with its mirages, and all around, as Najab looked, he was seeing mirages far away in the distance. Hours of wandering. In a confused state, he wandered about. Why? When he had started running and the dust and the sandstorm had come up, he had lost track of the right direction. He was not sure about his direction, so he's wandering about, not going in a proper direction. Hours of wandering followed as if he was in a trance. Trance means dreamy state. In a dreamy state, he went on and on wandering about. Then it became evening. Then light thinning away, and an hour or two later, dusk and a thin plume of smoke rising from a dung fire. Afterwards, when it became evening, after an hour or two, dusk is the time just before night. He saw in the far distance, he saw a thin plume of smoke, a thin line of smoke rising from a dung fire. ये cow dung cakes से जो fire है, that is used by people for cooking or for other purposes. They use it, and from it far away he could see the thin plume of smoke. The plume of smoke, that is thin line of smoke going up. So from this, when he saw the plume of smoke, he understood he is close to habitation, close to where people lived. So he understood he has come to a village, and he knew that this village was Fatima's village. Allah be praised, he was now within range. He praised God that now he was close to Fatima's village. He waited for the night to descend. Immediately he did not go to the village. He waited for night and then struck out on his, hobbling on his toes. Hobbling means limping. He could not walk properly because his toes were injured now because of the cracks on the heels. So after it became night, he started limping, walking on his toes, for this desert Odyssey had cost him his heels. Odyssey is an adventurous journey. Because of this desert Odyssey, his heels had been hurt, injured. Within an hour, he was at the clove seller's door. Who is the clove seller? Kalesha, Fatima's father. So, within an hour, he reached Fatima's house. Fatima rose from her bed like a panic-stricken doe as he called out her name softly. Doe is a female deer. So, just like a female deer who is panic-stricken, full of fear, she rose from bed early in the morning here. So she was in bed sleeping, and when Najab went and called her, she woke up. As he called her out her name softly through the window bars. So he must have gone to the window of her room from outside. He must have called her, and she rose up. It took some anxious moments for it to sink in that it was Najab. At first, she did not recognize Najab. She was sleepy. She has just got up from her sleep. Her lustrous eyes lit up the dark of the room as she opened the door. Then she understood it was Najab, and she opened the door. 2 hours before dawn, Kalesha was woken up by the beat constable banging on the door. So, early in the morning, Najab had reached the house. But then here, the constable, beat constable, that is the constable who was on duty there, he came and banged on their house door. क्या पूछ रहे थे? A smuggler has come across the run, Kalesha. You wouldn't know anything about him, would you? Yes. The border guards must have come and reported, and they must be searching for the smuggler. So that is Najab, who had crossed the border. So they are coming and asking, Kalesha, have you seen any smuggler? Kasam Tumari, not a sparrow has entered the house of the village. Actually, Kalesha was telling the truth here because he did not come to know about Najab's coming till later, till after this only he comes to know. Okay, so now he is telling the truth. Kasam Tumari, not a sparrow has entered the house of the village. I don't know of any smuggler who has come. Even the dogs have not been barking tonight. So if a stranger had come, the dogs would be barking. Then he added with a knowing wink, why should a smuggler come to me? Why? He's asking like that. He was joking and telling, why should a smuggler come to my house? But actually all people knew that he was himself a smuggler and would help other smugglers also. But the law was not amused. Kalesha, he said sardonically. Sardonically means mockingly, making fun of. The policeman, the constable is telling Kalesha, making fun of him. Your belly is stuffed full with silver. Belly means stomach. It means your belly is stuffed full with silver means you have plenty of wealth. It would outweigh even the dirt in your heart. Your heart is all dirty. Evil heart है. उसके अंदर जितना evil या dirt है उससे भी ज़्यादा wealth है तुम्हारे पास. वो भी कैसे कमाया है? By smuggling. We all know that. The law, that is the constable is telling him, making fun of him. The constable's words rattled like a sack of empty cans in his head and prevented him from sleeping. When he heard the words of the constable about the smuggler, after that he couldn't sleep. It is only after that, in the morning, after he gets up, Fatima is bringing Najab to him. You have a guest, said Fatima, as she brought him his tumbler of hot steaming milk next morning. It is Najab. He stayed the night in the cattle shed. So Fatima is telling about Najab's coming. Yes, very early in the morning he had come and then he had stayed the night in the cattle shed. And about that Fatima is telling her father. For a moment he was terrified. Kalesha was terrified. A smuggler in the house, the police prowling all around, and he did not even know of it. Why he was terrified? Why he was afraid? Because the police were searching for the smuggler and the smuggler was in his own house and he did not know about it. His meeting with Najab had been brief. The wretched fellow had brought no tendu leaf. Later he met Najab and he found that Najab had not brought any tendu leaf. Without any tendu leaf, he was not interested in Najab at all. First you come unannounced, dragging the police behind you, and then I find you have come with nothing. So he is angry with Najab. Kalesha is angrily telling him, first you come unannounced, you don't tell me beforehand about your coming, and then after you come I find that you have not brought any tendu leaf. Trading with you is going to be a dead loss, son, with the corpse on your back and your hands empty. So he doesn't want to have any dealings with Najab. Najab thought that Kalesha's waistcloth with its black and white checks looked like a chessboard. So Kalesha was wearing the lungi, the tahmat with black and white checks. He would have to make his moves carefully. Actually, what had Najab come here for? He had not come here to sell tendu leaves or to buy clothes. He had come here only to take Fatima, and he knew he wouldn't be able to take Fatima with the permission of her father. So he had to be very careful about taking Fatima. He could not tell Fatima's father about it. He showed the gold bracelet. I have come for the clothes, Chacha Jan. But he tells Kalesha a lie that with the gold bracelet that he had brought, he would buy the clothes. And I shall pay in gold. The next 2 days, Kalesha was busy buying clothes and arranging to get Allarakha grazed a few miles away by a cowherd. The camel, Allarakha, was a strange camel in the village, and other people in the village would note it. Even the constable, if he saw the strange camel near Kalesha's house, he would understand that some smuggler has come to Kalesha's house. So Kalesha arranged for Allarakha to be taken by a cowherd, a person who looks after cattle. So the cowherd took Allarakha a few miles away for grazing, for eating grass. And Kalesha himself was busy buying clothes so that he could sell it to